Welcome back, everybody. My name is Janai Thornton, and I'm super excited to have you back for another episode of Thank Me Later's Real Life, where we are committed to navigating you through every situation in life. And I have to admit, this has to be one of my favorite series with Thank Me Later, because I know if you're not prepared, a little bit of life can really derail you and actually get you on your behind, but it doesn't have to be that way. So I'm excited to have our guest back with us again for another session, Miss Allie Murray McCray.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy that you're back. Allie is a funeral director. She has been for 23 years with Murray Brothers Funeral Home in Atlanta. Anybody from Atlanta knows that they are a staple in the Atlanta community. But I'm so glad that you're here, and thank you for being so generous with your time.
Thank you for having me.
So for this third installment, I really want to talk about paying for a funeral and life insurance specifically. So nobody more than you understands how important life insurance is in the context of death. Can you talk about that?
It is very important to have life insurance. I explain to people, if you can afford a pack of cigarettes,
right?
If you can afford a lottery ticket or a 6-pack of beer, you can afford life insurance. Definitely finding out what is best for you when it comes down to life insurance. Of course, knowing the difference in your life insurance,
right,
term and whole,
right,
and finding out what is best for your budget. And most importantly, knowing who you're leaving the proceeds of the insurance to.
Right.
Definitely, it's for final expenses, and then, of course, for your family to have a legacy, hopefully,
right,
and live beyond your passing.
How common is it that families come to you and they're like, Allie, we know our loved one had life insurance. We can't find the policy. We don't know where the information is. Does that happen a lot?
It happens a lot. So, of course, I tell them to definitely research bank statements.
Okay.
Because if you're making monthly payments, it's going to show up on that statement.
Okay.
And, of course, looking for any mailings that has come to the home. For any insurance companies, in hopes that we can reach out to them with a date of birth and a social security number. And we pray and cross our fingers in hopes that they have life insurance in place.
And so how does it work if somebody has a life insurance policy on their loved one? Does the life insurance company pay you all, the funeral home, directly? All the money goes to the family? How does that work?
So it's different scenarios when it comes down to if you're using that life insurance for funeral expenses.
Okay.
You have to have what you call an assignment, and this is just an agreement between the beneficiary and the funeral home that we will receive the amount of our bill and that only.
Okay.
So, of course, the insurance company will cut 2 checks, one to the beneficiary and one to the funeral home to pay the expenses. We usually get paid at the same time.
Okay.
Yes.
How does paying for a funeral typically work if the loved one doesn't have a life insurance policy?
So, of course, taking all major forms of payment as far as check, credit card, and cash.
Okay.
And, of course, this is usually required 24 hours before the service.
Okay. And any other tips based on your 23 years of experience, where you've seen families not handle life insurance other than not having it? We know that that's an issue. Anything else you want to share with families?
So, of course, just if they run into that situation of not having any insurance, I hope that they're taking that as a lesson to go ahead and get insurance for their family members so that this doesn't happen again.
Right.
And, of course, you have other programs in place. We've spoken previously in regards to indigent burial.
Right.
Of course, I've stated that it's not pretty, but it does allow you to have a dignified disposition as far as cremation or burial. And then, of course, you have things such as your GoFundMes, if that's something people are leaning towards,
right,
to pay for expenses. And then, of course, always, if you have to do any fish fries and donations,
right,
then, of course, making sure that that money is paid directly to the funeral home versus a person, so you'll know that your monies are going for the services of your friends or loved ones.
And I think it's important that we reiterate that you all do not accept payment plans.
We do not. We have nothing that we can repossess.
Right. So all cash up front.
Yes.
Right. And then have is it common to see families work well together to say, hey, cousin so-and-so, you're going to put in 500, so-and-so's going to put in 1,000 to kind of to make this funeral or this, this process?
Definitely, you see families come together where people will sit down and say, okay, this is my budget. This is what I can give.
Okay.
So be it $500 or $2,000, then, of course, they're able to sit down at the table and make that decision. And then, of course, let us know what we need to do to service them.
Okay. So one thing that I just want to suggest, because I don't know if you've heard of this before, too. I've heard of several people saying, hey, I don't know what my family's going to do with the money, and that's the reason why that they don't want to have life insurance. I think it's important at a minimum that you have enough at least to cover your burial costs.
Definitely.
You don't want to leave that responsibility to your family.
Correct.
For sure.
And I encourage people, if you're concerned about who you're leaving it to and you don't think that they will do the right thing,
right,
then of course go ahead, have that policy for $10,000 or $15,000,
right,
and in having that policy for that amount, go ahead and do your pre-planning,
right,
put that $150
down, right,
to lock in that cost,
right,
and then you make the funeral home your beneficiary,
right. Oh, I didn't realize you could make the funeral home your beneficiary.
You can.
Or at least they could be listed as one of your beneficiaries.
Yes, you can split
that's
them
a good idea.
Yes.
That's a really good idea.
You'd be amazed at the amount of people that come in and are petrified at what their family may do.
Really?
Yes.
Scared to death.
Yes.
Of how it's just going to be just like a hot emotional mess, or just not the way that they want the service to be.
Want it the way that they want it to be.
Okay.
Definitely.
Interesting. Well, that's good to know that you can, if you're concerned about how your family is going to handle your final affairs, how your final plans, that you can pick the funeral home that you want to work with. Right. If you don't feel comfortable prepaying, that you can leave them as a beneficiary in your will if you choose to do that. I mean, for your life insurance, rather, not for your will. And again, what a beautiful gift. Definitely. I think that's one thing people need to understand. Taking this effort, having the life insurance, doing the pre-planning, that is really a gift to your family.
It is.
Yeah, it's a gift. And so you want to make sure that you're doing the part, and please sit down and have the conversations with the people that you know that you're going to be in charge of if something happens to them.
Yes.
Do you think that families really have the conversations the way they're supposed to?
No, they don't. I've heard of a family doing what you call an insurance party.
Right.
And I thought it was the best idea.
Right.
So, of course, they had the insurance agent come in, and everyone had their policies who already had insurance. If you didn't, then, of course, you went ahead and signed up for your insurance.
You were applying.
Everybody let each other know, this is my beneficiary, this is what I want.
Right.
And I think it worked out really well for them.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Everybody, I want y'all to put an insurance policy party on your list.
Definitely.
Thank you, Allie, so much. Thank you again for not only
problem.
being generous with your time, but helping people through a very difficult time. It can be a very difficult time. So thank you all so much for watching Real Life, brought to you by Thank Me Later. And again, please continue to engage with us on our platform. Please follow us on social media at TML Money and at Janai Thornton. And we'll see you next time.